I'm adjusting the back. I have one of these clips on and I tuck my hair in so that it's not even going to fall out. And I put it this way, this way, so that I used to do this when I used to wear a baseball cap a lot. So let me just talk some more about being in a toxic relation. Like I said, I'm in a toxic relationship. So the video that they just cut off, I started talking about they have to criticize. So what this is constantly criticizing me. I did this wrong. I did that. I'm this, I'm that. Then the next thing is, then they make suggestions. So that's another form of control when you're in a toxic relationship where you're not allowed to be your own self. So they're constantly suggesting things. Why don't you do this? Why don't you say that? Why don't you wear this? Why do you... Then it goes back to, why do you always do this? Why can't you ever do that? Why... So it's as though something about me is so horrible. But if you're in a toxic relationship, you can leave. This isn't a marriage. This isn't, something where we have to be together. They could leave. The other part about being in a toxic relationship is then they have to try to find a way to keep bringing themselves into everything I'm doing. So they went over like my boys I liked. I'll call them boys because as a kid they'll start. Then it went to guys I liked in high school. Then it went to men I liked. So they just keep going over it and they keep trying to connect the type I like. So they said I usually like attractive men. And then they want to kind of go over that. The whole point is in this type of toxic relationship where I believe this is not just abuse and toxic, but a form of human trafficking. They seem to keep trying to find a man they just made a noise. A man who they think will be a honey trap for me. So I just want to talk about a honey trap and how this goes into all of this. Meaning a type of man that I will no longer be able to resist. Something that is irresistible. But what they're trying to do is base it on a psychological assessment that came from other people. So by doing this all these years, watching me, studying me, and I'm not dating anybody, they are now trying to kind of convince me that, it would be better if you had a man. You need a man. What about a man? But so it's all of that together that makes this whole thing so toxic, that I'm not good enough. I have to be criticized. I can't think for myself. They have to suggest things. I can't be alone. I must have a man. I must have them. Because what they're going to end up doing is sending one of them into my life as the honey pot. And that's how this all connects. So as I'm going over, different things, they're trying to get how I argue, because that goes back to how they're going to use AI to keep this system of talking to me going, so that they don't have to sit around all day and listen to me. They'll just use a computer program to keep me constantly on this constant, hamster wheel. Run. So I always say hamster wheel, and suddenly then they say it, because that's what this was about. This was about observing me, stealing from me, and then giving it back. So what they're doing is, for example, here, I'm going to lend you this pen. And then once you come to give it back to me, you'll put it in the cute little box and say, look what I gave you as a gift. Well, that's the pen I lent you. I just lent you that pen. And that's what they wanted to do to me. That's why they needed this whole process to hide the fact that they're giving me back my own ideas and stealing my better ideas. But because I'm recording it and I'm letting you know their suggestions, and I'm not just letting them constantly talk and not prove that they're doing it, then you can see the ideas they're giving me, they're crap. They're crappy ideas. But my better ideas are better than their ideas. And that's why they used the word a handler. It's more like a honeypot, because they feel that I won't work well with a handler. A handler is, and again, I would have to get more information. I'll try to find a video about what a handler really is, so that I don't, I'm not sure, but I think it's somebody who handles you. But so they just said something. But the whole point is my type of handler would be a honeypot, an attractive man who I would fall madly in love with, and then they can do all this to me. And that's the way this was supposed to be. So they keep trying to say, aren't you afraid you're going to offend somebody? Aren't you afraid? No, no, God, no. Thank you for watching.